Today marks 1766 day of daily lessons, daily reflections. And today I speak about systems again. Yesterday I started sharing about the foundation things and the small things that we need to understand, but not deep. And today I really wanted to go a little bit deeper into systems because I already shared yesterday that systems is probably one of the key aspects of life because we become what we repeatedly do on a daily basis. Not what we once in a while do, even though we could make mistakes and that will alter our lives. But in general, 99% of our life is based on our systems, based on the things we do. And sometimes we do not call certain things systems. We just say that, oh, just habits. But we know it or don't know it. There's a design, design of our life, and that design is systems. And today we'll share 12 more things that we're able to consider about systems and reflect on, such as we're able to really use for our own benefit, those systems, rather than against us. So number one is your life is system whether you design it or not. And that's right you started to share that you potentially wake up, you take your phone, you message, your social media, you work, you exhaust maybe late sleep, then repeat. That's just again system. This is a system that you repeat every single day. It might be totally different. Wake up, prayer, scripture, exercise, work, focused learning, relations, reflection, and sleep. And this is totally different lifestyles. And every single person will need to decide, okay, what kind of system do I live in? What I repeatedly do, because what you repeatedly do is a system. And I think that sometimes I say, oh, I don't get, I do not have the life that I want. And you can ask, okay, what kind of systems do I have right now? It's like if I didn't build intentionally by design my life, that means that life was designed for me by default. And that by default is a lot of times not a great place to be in because the environment really training you. Number two, systems are not primarily about discipline. And I used to be proud that I have a massive discipline. I have able to be very consistent with willpower. I used to have mental power. And I learned that why I need to use so much discipline, so much willpower. Why is not to build a system rather than say I'm a very disciplined, rather to say that I'm extremely good at building systems and I'm making my life easier. Doing the same thing, the right thing, but in a much more simple way. Because if you require to do everything discipline and willpower, maybe sometimes you make your life much harder than it could be. So to design your environment so you don't need to exercise discipline constantly. That's the beautiful part. Number three, a system has five parts. That is input, environment, behavior, feedback, and adaptation. And this is interesting. This is again extremely important because that shows exactly how we adjust. So if input could be you have stress, you feel stress. So environment, your phone is immediately available, and behavior is scroll 45 minutes on the phone. Feedback, temporary relief in your emotions, and adaptation. Your brain says, okay, like stress. That means I'm taking phone, and I get relief. So that means your brain starts to crave for the phone because that's where its temporary relief is coming from. And now we need to change that to total opposite directions. That input is the same stress. You put the phone away, running shoes is available, very close by. You go for a walk or go for very slow jog, and then feedback is stressed is decreased, and your brain says that okay, stress, movement, and is temporary relief, and that is the system design. A healthy adaptation and unhealthy adaptation, and be able to say, what do I do? And what kind of behaviors and systems have I built when some kind of negativity comes in? What do I do? Do I go to numb myself as Chrome, or do I go to do something that is actually helpful? Because both of them will adapt our brains how we seek um, relief. Number four, your environment is part of your character. That means the people, physical space, technology, money, schedule, information. There are so many things that are included. And the question is always, what kind of person does my environment makes easy to become? And that's the question. Easy to become. Because of course, sometimes you can have the worst environment in the universe and still end up being an incredible, successful person. But sometimes we can ask like, why I need to push so hard through this environment to become that person. Maybe I'm able to really remove myself from an environment that is dragging me down and have more energy to achieve the things that I want even faster. And I guess I ask a question: what environment, the environment that I am in, what is teaching me to be? And that's a good question. Number five, build systems from your highest values downward. And this is a beautiful thing. That means that you break down your systems based on who you really want to become and what is important for you. So first one, worldview. What I believe is true. Purpose. What is my life for? Values, what matters? Standards, how should I live? Virtues, who I'm becoming? And then principles, how to how do I decide? Goals, what I'm building. And now finally, when you have all understanding of those essential things like, and we say, okay, must what must be repeatedly happen? What do I need to do repeatedly? That's the question. What I need to do repeatedly to align my goals, my principles, my virtues. And I think that when you really start to really build systems based on really important things, now I know exactly how to build systems. Because if you start from the systems, you build a system, but after a while you realize that those systems doesn't align with your purpose in general. So it's extremely important to understand the foundational things before you move into systems. And I think that's a lot of times why people do not have systems because they didn't have the clarity about the purpose, about the values, about the goals, and that's why the systems is not as essential at that moment. So building an incredible system for life you actually want. Number six, every important value needs behavioral expression. I didn't mention yesterday, but this is just extremely important. So let me say high value health. So what kind of, if you really value health, so what are the systems in that? Like sleep, exercise, nutrition. There are so many things like love, okay, presence, listening, truthfulness, forgiveness, boundaries. So, what kind of systems do you build in faith, scripture, prayer, fellowship, worship, service, excellence, preparation, feedback? There are so many things that we think about. Okay, what are my values and what are the systems in that value? So, every single value needs to have systems that align with that value. Number seven, don't confuse goals with systems. So, I want to lose weight. I said that after breakfast, I go for a short walk. That I want to read the Bible every day. I said it after breakfast. I read two chapters before opening social media. So it means that when we have a goal, we again this the same as values. When you have a value, you have a system. When you have a goal, you need to have a system, and that's a beautiful thing. I said like, do I have a value that is aligned with the system? Do I have a goal that's aligned with the system? Because if it's just a goal, well, I will have that goal for a long time. Number eight, systems should have triggers. And that's already said it. After breakfast, I read. After at 7 a.m. Monday, Wednesday I train. But it means that it's much easier to really do something with the triggers. Okay, so after breakfast, I read. For example, for me, one of the triggers for reading is after I take my coffee in a coffee shop, I sit down and read. And first thing what I do, I read, and after that, I move to other things. But I love to have the trigger that when I go to a coffee shop, I grab a coffee, sit down, read for a bit, and then I do other things. But that's again trigger to do something that is important for you. Number nine, build defaults. And this is a beautiful thing regarding the finances. You said that it's when I get money, maybe paycheck or business related income, I allocate 5%, 10% into savings, into investments, whatever it is. But like you should have defaults that what something happens, by default, that's what happens. And this is much, much easier with no need to think about it. So that means that could be other defaults. Like if something important or conflict happens, I said by default I give myself 30 minutes to reflect on, to be able to really collect my ideas and then come back and really share. There's a lot of things that be able to create, but like every single area of our importance supposed to have some kind of default that you do not need to think about it. And that's a beautiful takes away importance of thinking and you save a lot of energy. Number 10, have rules for exceptional situations. See, I exercise always at 7 a.m. But there will be exceptional situations that we will not be able to exercise at 7 a.m. on those days. So what you will do then, have a backup plan for those. Okay, if I will not do, I will reallocate my time. This is very important. So reallocate this time to other time and specific time. So now, rather than being a wagon in the air, instead of if I'm not able to do at 7 a.m., I will be able to do at 9 a.m., 9 p.m., or whatever it is. Like you just create create a emergency plan. Sometimes rather than doing a long training, you get able to reduce to small one, and that could be a part of emergency plan. Number 11, protect the principle, not the ritual. And this is extremely, extremely important. So principle, the value that you have system for is connection. And said that I have a weekly dinner together with someone. Weekly dinner together. And that's values is connection and behavior and system is a weekly dinner together. And also let's say that I'm not able to have that weekly dinner this week. Just the timing, that is circumstance, I'm just not able to do it. Rather than quitting the behavior, rather than quitting the system, we're able to say like, okay, what else could they do today? And this is almost like a similar to worst case scenario or emergency, when it's like if I'm not able to meet, maybe able to have a phone call. Would be able to really keep the value of connection because the value is connection. The connection is important, not the system. System is just the means to get to the value, that connection. So we always need to forget that system is not the purpose, not the reason. The reason is connection. And when we're able to say that, just remember that, and then we it's like I want still want to build a connection. So rather than having dinner, let's do something similar. Maybe able to go for a walk very shortly before or after that time, just being able to really communicate to find how to really build that connection, to preserve that connection. And last one, number 12, is build feedback into everything important. So do observe, evaluate, adjust, repeat. Do observe, evaluate, adjust, repeat. So that means every system will have changes. Because the interesting thing that our life is very unique and different. That everyone has different. I moved so many times and my life changed so many times. And there's so many times I needed to adjust my systems because of that. So maybe I needed to change systems more often than the regular person, but I think that every single person needs to adjust their systems because they are single. They have certain systems regarding health, our connections, of our relations. That they are in relationship. Their systems will need to be accordingly adjusted a little bit because if we are too rigid, that will not lead into good outcomes. And I think that is extremely important to always, always reflect and get feedback on our important things. So how to reflect as well. This is a beautiful topic, systems, and I probably will speak more in the future the more I learn about it. But it's a great way to start to really say that I understand that systems are extremely important, and I'm willing to allocate my time to really build my life based on systems that is built intentionally based on the foundational important things in my life. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.